Okay. Okay, let me turn this down. All right, I'm talking now, so see me a little bit better this way. So, is the mic on or off? Under audio settings on the left. Welcome to the future. Yeah, we're just trying to drive you nuts. All right, so now. Okay, because you want to be able to hear me. Not see where it says turn up volume in the upper right in the middle. So it's not hearing anything. Turn up volume. So one hen, two ducks.
Are you
I'm Stu. Yeah, my name is Stu. Yeah. Yeah. Elias is the guy who works here. I'm just Barry's friend. Yeah, just help him out. We're looking for Elias though? Or?
I think I can go get an easel. Do you still want one if we can get one?
All right, so I'm testing the audio here. So the time has come. Testing 1 2 2 1 1 1.
And in the room, what are you going to use?
It'll be up on the screen.
They're not going to draw on the screen though.
No. He's gonna draw.
Yeah. I've seen people do stuff like that, not really thinking about it. But you want to turn up, see where it's just turn up volume in the middle there? And so I'll talk. 1 hen, 2 ducks, 3 squawking geese, 4 liver voices. Okay, figure out how to get rid of the yeah, try the out. I was gonna say the output level, and then see if it'll still come through. All right, so it's 1 hen, 2 ducks. So if you try turning the output level all the way down, the top one, yeah, so turn it all the way down. See if it can still hear me or not. I guess not. That's not going to work. So the other thing is that I guess you have the audio set for HDMI output. I'm trying to think how we did that last time. It worked. So if we set the audio on your camera, on your computer, to speaker, the audio, there's probably something audio down here. The audio things are on there. So instead of the HDMI audio, we want to go to, might say computer. No, it's the wrong. No, that's the internet. To the right of the internet on the bottom looks like a loudspeaker. It's this thing over here, the tiny thing there. Yeah. Click on that. Oh, never mind. I'm wrong. Okay. So usually you might be able to go into the gear over there and it might tell you HDMI.
Sorry, we're working on
The computer itself taking the output.
This is my.
And one with the speaker. Speaker options be fine. The other speaker options. Earphone jack. But it's not easy to sing songs.
That's just, that's for the regular one, this is the advanced settings. That's just for like the volume stuff, but that's the advanced settings. So it's the same.
HDMI outputs.
Oh, but it's not.
You don't need to break. Yeah, you could unplug that, then we're gonna lose the video.
Yeah. So the big went away. Others. Yeah. That's.
Why it's going into internet. I tried. Sound settings. See where it is. The sound settings. Well, Epson's off. Epson, we thought we had before. Oh, that's. Yeah, and I'll try talking. All right, so I'm the Zoomer. Are you hearing me as a Zoomer? And I could turn my volume up. I'm turning my volume up here, but I think this is more my output volume. Just want to make sure that I'm allowing myself my loudspeaker to be on. Oh yeah, so you could.
Now we have the colors in the system.
What we wanted to do. Oh, now you're hearing me. You want to turn that thing off? You know how to do that? We want to be able to listen to me. Yeah, I am talking right now. Are you hearing me without the echo? Okay, all right. So the time has come, Larissa, to talk of other things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot, and whether pigs have wings. Hello, Calais. No work today. We're cabbages and kings. So you could turn that up on the wall, can you not? Turn up the volume. You may need to make some adjustments. I'm not sure if you could do it on the computer or not. But oysters, little oysters, come walk with us tonight. A pleasant walk, a pleasant talk would be a sheer delight. And should we get hungry along the way, we'll stop and have a bite. But Mother Oyster winked her eye and shook her heavy head. She knew this was no time to leave the oyster bed. Okay, so now are you having?
One, two, three.
And I want to be able to, we want to make sure that the Zoomers hear you. At this time, right? Yeah. So you may need to turn me off. Did you do that before? Did you turn the microphone from the Zoomers off so they could hear what's going on in the room? I turned my volume down, but you're still hearing me. So if you could turn my mic off, go into participants or security or something, you know.
Oh, that's one thing.
No hearing.
Oh, yeah.
But put it back to sure. And
Testing one, two, three, testing one, two, three, testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three, testing one, two, three. But that's just, but the other people who speak on microphones, everyone's
Yeah.
gonna have to come up here to speak. Then,
oh, yeah, rather than use those microphones.
Rather than use the microphone.
Yeah, no, I don't know why the sure thing isn't working. I mean, it worked when we were at your house.
yeah. Is it not connected?
Sure, trick it another time.
Hmm?
Right.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So it should be great. And you have, so let's go to select mic to sure again.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Can you go to see if you can hear it now? All right, test, 1, 2, testing. I don't think that has like,
Alright,
That should be good.
test 1, 2.
testing. Can I be heard?
You know? Why don't we connect that?
That's, we're not getting green. We should, we're suspecting this guy. Because this is what's gonna happen to the house. So that, it's for the microphone. I don't think it's. No, we're doing the, seeing. What are you hearing there?
Yeah, no.
It's just, it's from this.
And Brent.
Okay. I don't think it's right. Okay,
We're still hearing you through the computer.
yeah. Okay,
So are the Zoomers gonna be able to be heard over here?
I think so. Let me get rid of the,
You can try turning my
I'm
mic.
gonna turn off the waiting room. Okay, now, let's see. Susan, could you unmute yourself? We'd like to see if we can hear you.
Hi, this is Susan.
Yep, we can hear you. Thank you, Susan.
Okay, great.
Okay. Great.
We're able to hear her without.
Yeah, good.
So you got it.
Okay.
Whatever you do. Yeah. But I think,
Okay.
you know, I think it's like this. So I'm able to hear you here. Okay. Oh, you don't need any of this stuff. I think. Unless you want.
Okay.
Back to the.
And we're sure it works.
Well, we're not allowed to get together and figure that thing out.
Okay,
Anyway.
I think we're good for now. I mean, a couple of minutes. Yeah. Okay, so we just got.
You're helping with the. Yeah, I sent him an email with the last. The last version of the presentation.
Yeah.
Did you get it? Do you know?
I'm not sure
Did you
about
get
that.
another email with the last version of the
No.
presentation?
No, let me
It's
have
on
it.
here.
Here.
It's the one with the slash one on. Pleasure.
All right, let me just
Tell me what I
transfer.
pushed to change the slides.
Okay. Let me transfer his thing first. What, Ethan, where's the? Where's that? Where is it? There's your.
So it's
There.
this one.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to do. They're sitting down. Okay. Okay, now you'll just push that down.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And you need to speak both here for the Zoomers and here for the Roomers.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna get started. Can you all hear me?
No.
No? What do I need to do?
Okay, now you should be good.
Can you all hear me? Yeah? Okay, we're gonna get started. So, hello? Grab some food, grab some wine or whatever else and have a seat. We're about to get started. I'm Pam Gerizzo. I'm Vice President of Sustainable Rossmore. And I'm filling in for Amanda Casey, who should be back in time for the next meeting. Yay, we've missed Amanda. Oops. Barry, I pushed the down button and I didn't get a slide. This button?
You need a bigger hammer. Yeah, right.
Okay, then click on it then.
Okay, there we go. Are we recording?
We are.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I hope you all got enough to eat and drink back there. We're going to start off with a few little items of business before we have our featured speaker. So if Adrian, could you come up and give us our financial and membership reports?
Do that.
No, I
Okay.
Oh,
well,
Sorry.
Ground rules, everybody can read them.
No, you don't follow them, you gotta. No.
Well, telling them isn't gonna make a difference, but please, if you're in the room, do use the a microphone so people can hear and see you. And try and speak in front of a camera so that people on Zoom can see you. And if you're on Zoom, please mute yourself. And raise your hand electronically or type into the chat. Thank you. Okay, so as see,
Move that out of the way. Yeah. There you go.
okay, so as of the beginning of the month, we had 7,000 and change in the bank. We got 7 memberships, I guess, in this month. It's $140. Some of those were renewals, some of them were new. We had some donations. We had some operations expenses, mostly associated with renting the rooms for our meetings. And as a result, we have $6,600 in the bank at the end of the month. And there. Okay, and the membership report, we have 145 current members total. 15 joined this year so far. 29 joined last year, and 101 who are old timers, unlike the rest of us.
And then we've got information about how to become a member. If you aren't already, just go to sustainablerossmore.org and follow the prompts. Barry, you want to talk to us about Earth Day? And then after that, you can introduce our speaker.
Hi, everyone. I'm Barry Bryan, especially for those who know me. Or never mind. There's always, for those who don't know me, I'm Barry Bryan, and the question is, well, who are you for those who know you? That's the question. Later this month, to celebrate Earth Day, this will be May 19th, Friday, from 10:30. April, thank you. That's what I meant. Well, you're paying more attention than I am paying attention, so somebody else should do this. So we are having an Earth Day celebration at the Stanley Dollar Park.
You lost the microphone.
Wow, I guess he didn't replace the batteries.
This big clue.
It's not gonna work for long. Let me get another, it is shining red, which is not a good sign. Anyway, Earth Day celebration, we will have a number of activities there. As indicated by the following tables: planet-friendly eating. So I think it'll be similar to what you're seeing back there, but also other good information. Our trash talkers, our Protect the Planet 24, having to do with the elections in the leading up to the elections in November. Legislative. Let me try a different microphone. Probably always ask them for an extra microphone. Legislative action, where we endorse certain bits of legislation. And our welcome tables, our tree planting and preservation committee, and also electrical vehicle will be test drives. So we have all those activities going on. If you have interest in any of these, then and with the tree planting and preservation committee, Leela will be leading a tree tour of various species of trees in the Dollar Park area. And that's always a very popular event. So we have all that together, but we still need a total of 4 volunteers, and they need to come from this group, or we don't go any further on the meeting. We need 2 volunteers to arrive at 10 a.m. and lift and reposition about 8 tables. They're not all that heavy. And so, Mark, thank you. That's 1. Do I have a second volunteer?
I'll just come in.
You'll just come early. Thank you, Susan. Okay. And then we need 2 other volunteers to arrive after those tables are in place. They might only take a few minutes. They might take 15 minutes to just wipe off the tables and chairs that are there. Ron is 1 volunteer. Do I have a second volunteer? Okay. Thank you, Julie. And what is your name? Hi, Anne. And what's your last name? Woo. Okay, thank you. So thank you very much for letting me hold the meeting hostage while I got some more volunteers. So now, let me replace this. Now I'm going to, actually, before I introduce our speaker, the only way that the Zoomers are actually going to hear your intelligent questions and to hear Ethan's great talk is if he stays by this screen here, because the sound is feeding into the screen, okay? So the other advantage of that is that you'll also be seen by the Zoomers if you stay in front of this camera. So people, if you have questions, please come up here and do them so that the Zoomers, of which there are about 8 or 9, can also participate and hear your great questions. and hear the great work that Ethan has to, is saying. So it gives me now going on to our featured presentation. Our talk is about the future of energy, specifically solar. It's being given by Ethan Megan. He is the CEO of Solar Shield. He is an enterprising guy. He told me all sorts of interesting things about him. Energy business owner, consultant, former solar executive, former HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning CEO, and California energy expert. And without any further ado, I present you Ethan Megan.
Thank you. Such a buildup. Hope I don't fail on my face. Could you bring up the my presentation?
Yes.
Hey, you need a haircut. You too.
Okay, so let's do a new.
We say in is a saying in my language that we don't talk about the noose in the hangman's house.
Good idea. Okay. Okay, so just use those to go up
Yep.
there.
Okay, perfect. Try and. Great. I want to start off with the kind of a show of hands, or just to get a feel for the room with why do you people think we should go solar, or anyone should go solar? What are the reasons that you would think are good ones for going to renewable energy? Anyone? Yes, please.
We need to get away from using energy generated by fossil fuels.
So environmentally, it's smart, right? That's a great reason. Any other reasons people think? Yes, sir. So savings. So basically some financial advantage. That's good. Anyone else? Yes.
You've already maximized your energy with your building. And by putting solar on it, they're helping the surrounding community understand the linkage between energy efficiency and solar.
So you say it's an example. You're talking about being an example to the community. I want to pull out of your answer just a little more than just being an example, because by going solar today, when I'll explain how it goes with battery backup, we're actually assisting the grid. We're actually giving assistance to our community in sustaining the grid, which I don't know if you know, but it's kind of shaky. Yes.
Related, sort of resilience in the case of disasters, that there will be some places that can operate without, even if other things go down.
Perfect. So we see that the grid isn't, and that connects to my former answer, isn't the best that we could have had. I've seen third world countries with a better grid. So certainly nothing to be blessed with, but you are totally correct. This allows us today to have a sustainability of our electrical power, even if the grid isn't that great. Anyone else? I think we covered most of the reasons. I mean, this is really where it goes. Okay, so now I have another question for you guys. Why not to go solar? We have all these good reasons. We can save money, and we can have a sustainable grid, and we can save the environment. Why won't we go solar? Sorry.
Well, I just moved from Texas, so maybe California's different, but a whole bunch of solar panels just got completely smashed from hail. So there's been a whole completely smashed from hail.
Hail, okay, okay.
So, and that is a very common occurrence in more counties. You also have, you still have to get all the solar to across private property and whatever to the plant that can use it for the grid.
Okay, so you say, by the way, did cars get banged with these hail?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so did the Texans stop driving cars?
Only if they couldn't because they were smashed and they couldn't drive them.
Right, but then insurance came in and paid them and they bought new ones.
Just
Yeah,
still takes a while.
yeah, no, for sure. So you're right that one of the things is that any apparatus, it's susceptible to natural disaster. I can tell you here in California, we don't have that much great hail. We do have fires.
Yeah.
And some people get their house burned down by PG&E and it burns down with the solar on top. And I've actually had a customer like that. And there's insurance. And once you build your house and you get paid out, we build it up. So would that be a reason not to go solar? Or would that be a reason to hold insurance or to get a package of safety for my system?
Well, okay, so we have solar for individuals on their homes.
Correct.
Because if you're doing that, everybody can't afford it.
Okay, so you're saying now a different reason, it's money. It's too expensive. Great. Any other reason why we would not go solar? Yes.
The trees are in the way.
The trees are in the way. Okay, so if there's no sun, solar is not effective. You're right, we won't go solar. And it's always part of our qualification of any individual who wants to go solar to see if there's enough sun shining on the roof in order to create enough power to make sense. That's what you call it. Yes, Dan.
You haven't yet put in sufficient insulation, double pane windows, done energy efficiency to understand the economics of solar.
So let me understand.
Because we have loading order in California that can be energy efficiency first to just reduce your electricity bill. And then after you do that, then you look at solar.
And if you don't have now the energy or the money or the inclination to do the efficiency, then don't go solar, then continue to pay PG&E huge amount of money?
I am exploded energy efficiency and you reduced your bill enough.
I'll go with you. So I come from another version, which is HVAC are heat pumps, whoever, and it's a way to really become more energy efficient.
With lighting.
And although HVAC has nothing to do with renewable energy, it just pulls electricity. I mean, it can pull, one second, it can pull electricity from anything. By going with an HVAC system, we are saving energy, basically. And that is considered in one way renewable energy. I agree with you that the combination of renewable energy with energy efficiency is the best. However, the fact that we haven't gone fully efficient, or maybe we can't, for whatever reason, is not a reason not to transition our power already into renewable energy and do the efficiency later. So it's not one before the other, it's we need to do them. Let's see what's good for us now. Yes.
Speaking as someone in the school too, we're not allowed to get solar because our electrical system is too old. And they don't want to pay to upgrade it. And I imagine there's a lot of old houses.
So I don't want to go into specifics, and for that, we're going to have afterwards the opportunity of each one of you to set up an individual appointment and we can discuss individual cases.
Not an individual case, all of you will too.
I understand. Well,
No, I disagree with that.
But correct. So we have some preconceptions. Solar, by the way, just so that you know, by law, a law that was, by the way, initiated by Sustainable Rossmore a couple of years ago, the mutual cannot prevent you from going solar. They have to allow you. Now, whatever technical issues there are along the way, we roll through them. Sometimes we can't, but at least we try. Yes, any other offers of why not to go solar? So we said expensive. We said maybe we want to be energy efficient before we transition. Anyone, anything else? Yes.
I understand there are rebates available through the IRA, like you guys can
Correct.
for the energy efficiency.
A tax credit, there is. There are rebates for energy efficiency and a tax credit for renewable energy. You're correct. Would that be a reason not to go? Okay, so perfect. This is what I want to do today with you guys, so I'll just run through it. I'll introduce myself a little bit, elaborating on Barry's very generous introduction, and give you a bit of my background so that you know what we can bring to the table. We'll talk about how bad is our situation, what really we're looking at with PG&E, just a few numbers and pictures and graphs to get us acquainted with the current situation of energy in California. We'll talk about solar and storage. How is it supposed to benefit us? And we'll talk about what it takes to go solar. I'll ask you so that, because I have about 20 slides, I'll try to run through them. I don't want to tire you. So if anyone has a question, please write it down. I'll leave some time at the end for Q&A. And after that, I won't run off. If anyone has a specific question on his or her situation, I'll be here to answer. Without further ado, this is us. So, in my background, after a legal career in Israel and moving into management, I ended up in energy. I was an HVAC CEO, importer of high-end Japanese heat pumps, sold on a strategic level, commercial stuff, did that for about 4 years before moving on to a kind of a side gig, which was great fun. I pioneered a motorcycle touring company in Israel. I was the first, and it didn't last in Israel too long because we had the tourism issues, as you can probably imagine these days. And we went international. So for 5 years, I traveled the far corners of the earth on motorcycles with groups. It was amazing. I fell in love with our planet, which comes back to an offer I got from a Southern California company to come and manage Northern California for them in a solar company. And when they said that, I told them, let me think about it, but I already knew the answer. And I think 4 days later, I was on a plane to LA, and all the rest is history for me. That was 2019, 4 years, brought my family here. My lovely wife here is with us, Tamar. And since about 2 years as an executive and then a consultant for Sunrun, the largest residential solar company, in which time I met up with Barry in one of these Earth Days, I think 2 or 3 years ago. And we've been trying to light the fire under residential solar in Rossmore together. And this is one of the efforts in front of. On the way, I was a lieutenant colonel in the Israeli Air Force in reserve. And now we are opening an independent and multi-company dealer. So we represent the 3 largest solar companies in the United States, Sunnover, Sunrun, and SunPower. And that's what we bring to each and every one of them when we come to consult you, is basically an offering of the different options. We come to listen, we understand your goals, and we try to consult you and fit you into the best option for you. We can talk wider about heat pumps, we can refer you to others, and we have here members of the audience who have enjoyed some of the service, I hope. A picture of the population. So most of us here, and I'm definitely consider myself one of your generation, saw in the past 100 years the population of the world quadruple. In 1920, somewhere around under 2 billion. Today, 2020 plus, we are over 8 billion. This is amazing growth. Consequently, and of course, with the Industrial Revolution, we are extreme in our usage of energy. What you see here, basically the dark red, the pink, and the purple are fossil fuels. So still the major part of our energy in the world is coming from fossil fuels, which brings us to the next slide, which is the amount of carbon dioxide being emitted into the atmosphere and creating the greenhouse effect. As you can see, it's exponential. What we are trying to do now is, by means of transitioning into renewable energy, slow this, stop it, and reverse it. And that's why we're here. Specifically, PG&E, because of the increase in the demand for fossil fuels, which is their main source of energy, have been increasing our rates dramatically. I don't know if you noticed how much, you have any idea. I brought here a bill which I pulled off a very nice elderly lady from Sebastopol. She had saved her bills for 20 years. So I just took one. And if you can see the arrow on the slide on her bill, this is an old bill. She was paying back in 2013, 13 cents per kilowatt hour. Does anyone here have an idea of what it is today? What's the average kilowatt hour in PG&E territory?
4 times that?
3.5, 4, yes. Yeah, we have 52. By the way, we have 66 as well as a peak in EV rates. So somewhere between 3 to 4. I tried to compare it just to today's tier 1. So not many of us still on tier system, but those who are, the tier 1 today is 43 cents, which is 230% in 10 years.
That's a good ROI.
For them.
Bingo.
For them. So what I'd like each and every one of you to do internally right now is try to think, what is your bill, your electric bill this year? What it averaged in the last year, and multiply it by 3 and think, what is that going to do to you? What is that going to do? How are you going to deal with it? It's where we're going, so that's a thought. Here are the rates with PG&E. I pulled this off the PG&E website. And just to give you a quick look into time of use, the quadrant on the left-hand side on the bottom. So basically, time of use is the actual rate right now. Everyone is going there. If you're not on time of use yet, you will be. That's where it is. Time of use differentiates between summer and winter. So winter is lower rates for some reason. I don't know why. I don't think fuel is cheaper in the winter, but that's the way they like it. And it's running between 43 and 52 cents now on time of use. If we go to the summer, it's going to hop to 53 and 62 cents. And overall, we're looking at somewhere around 53 to 55 cents on an average. Remember 13 only 10 years ago. That's absolutely crazy. This is the inflation that we're seeing, and these are the rates. Do you know what the average rate in continental USA is, by the way? Just for comparison? Yeah, for electricity. No. Do you remember what you paid in Texas for a kilowatt hour? So the average is 13.6 cents. Today, we're paying over 4 times as much. And it's man-made. So everybody says, oh, this is California, we have to pay more. It's of course. So here are a few examples. Santa Clara, I think that's California, the last time I checked. They have a municipal electric company that does the distribution. They buy their power from PG&E, don't be mistaken about it. They're paying between 15 and 20 cents. Alameda, the same. Sacramento, the same. I can go on. Turlock, Modesto, anyone, Lodi, all have individual power. Roseville as well have individual power. Municipal, which is not a for-profit establishment, and they apparently can manage to get their rates. By the way, Menlo Park as well are in a good position. So we talked about why we need. I think you mentioned everything. We talked about environmental. We talked about financial. We talked about safety and security. We talked about supporting the future grid. And we talked about leading by example, so there is nothing I can offer you here. It's all been said. Talk about batteries for a second. The April 13th, 2023, last year, a big cliff of solar, and the CPUC transitions us from what is called then Net Energy Metering 2 into Net Energy Metering 3, which is now being transitioned to a new name called Net Billing. We are no longer able to go into NEM 2 anymore. It's gone. And what basically it did is it shifted the weight from just solar as producing energy to producing solar and storing it locally. So basically getting off the grid instead of putting more tension onto it, and gaining energy independence. Basically, that was something that people were looking for before, and at NEM2, unless you wanted to fork out for a battery just out of fun, what you really did is remained connected to the grid with the grid level of service, which means with PG&E going out, you go out with it, even though it's blazing sun up there and you paid a lot of money for your solar panels. But now we have this energy independence, which allows us basically to produce the power, store it locally, use it when we need it, and if the system covers all our usage, PG&E can go out and we'll be all right, which is a great opportunity. Of course, it got a little more expensive because now batteries have to be added onto the system, which causes, of course, extra cost, but we'll talk about the cost later. The batteries allow us to become energy independent, so that they allow us to shift the rate. So you saw the rate from PG&E has a peak between 4 and 9 p.m. later in the afternoon, when most of the time solar is already rounded down, not a lot of power is coming out from there. The batteries allow us to do that rate shifting. So get the energy during the day, use it during the evening, and not have to go back to PG&E and buy at 55 cents a kilowatt hour or 60 or 66, whatever they have for us. Talked about backup power, grid support. So you've probably all been through what is called rolling brownouts. You remember this phenomenon, again, man-made, it's nothing to do with nature. PG&E just didn't figure out enough energy for what we needed at the peak. And when it exceeded what they imagined, they would shut us off or burn their transformers. So basically they would choose a neighborhood and then roll around the Bay Area from one to the other, kind of sharing the love of, and of course it's the major heat wave of the summer, but that's when it happened. And suddenly in 2022, the hottest heat wave in California history, and of course the peak in demand for electricity, suddenly there's no brownout. And the CPUC goes back and looks at it and says, hey, why is this happening? Why is there no brownout? I mean, it's like it was always there. And what happened was that there were enough batteries already installed with different individuals, and PG&E called up Sunrun, who was the biggest holder of batteries, and Tesla, and asked them, hey, can you please have your customers drive power back into the grid and support us? And they did, and there was enough. And that's when it dawned on the CPUC that maybe this is the solution for it. December, the decision falls. April, it gets executed, and that's why we are now at net billing, just so that we... Question of, I think you brought it up here also, of example, of leadership. I see this community as a community of leaders. And I think that it's a really important statement that Barry is pushing hard with this committee, that we want to leave a different legacy to our to the next generation than the one that we see now, which we are on the verge of the point of no return of global warming. So one of that is our legacy. Generating the energy from the sun is already a done deal. So California has already put a number of roadblocks of renewable energy. One of them, 2027, no furnaces, gas furnaces or water heaters are going to be sold in the Bay Area. 2030, the rest of California will be the same. I haven't heard that. Which Contra Costa? But Contra Costa is adopting something ahead of the 2027 law. The Bay Area Commission of Clean Air has that already decided. Whether it will be, there are a lot of ifs here, but this is the law right now. There's, of course, Senate Bill 100 telling us that by 2030 will be 60% renewable all over California, meaning PG&E as well need to be renewable. So we're looking at heavy investment in renewable energy that, of course, you know who's going to pay for. And 2035, there is that cliffhanger for inner combustion cars. Last one to be sold in California, 2035. I see heads turning, those from Texas especially, who don't believe it's happening. One thing I can tell you about California, it's a world leader in its ambition to go renewable, which means anyone who thinks that sitting on their hand and nothing's going to happen around them, you're going solar. It's like, you know, I don't want to invest in the stock exchange. Yeah, but you have an IRA. You're invested in the stock exchange. So it's more or less the same thing. The way California goes, the US goes. So we see net billing coming out here, and now we see other states moving to a net billing regime. And I think as the leading senior community in Northern California, I think whatever you do will have a great effect on California as well. So that's your part. So we talked a lot about why not to go so. And one of the things that came up here was the upfront cost, the expense. So, and I'll put that together with the ROI because some of us think that maybe we won't have enough opportunity to enjoy something that the ROI is 10, 12, 14 years out. And that may be a reason why we don't want to invest. For that and for many other reasons, the power purchase agreement, and also known as a PPA, and I'll refer to it as a PPA from now on, is a great opportunity. The power purchase agreement is actually a financial product for solar. Basically, the idea behind it is that the person that enjoys the solar is not the one financing the infrastructure. That's in one sentence. I can break it down a little more later if you have specific questions about it. A power purchase agreement mimics your utility. Basically, you're switching one utility for another utility, and that other utility is also the one to invest in the infrastructure, whatever, of bringing that electricity to your house, leaving the responsibility for it falling with hail over it and breaking or whatever to someone else, the utility. And these power purchase agreements started mainly for financial reasons with commercial solar. So companies who have capital and have a mandate to invest in something did not have a mandate to invest now in large amount in energy because it wasn't their business. So the way around that was to negotiate a lower rate with someone who it was his business, and they would put their huge system on these companies and basically sell a lower price energy to them, and everything about running the system, maintaining it, whatever was the problem of that company. And that is a model that everyone loved. 15 years back, Sunrun was a pioneer in adopting that into the residential arena. It was another product out there. I can't say that it was a main driver, but it grew more and more popular with time as rates increased and more people wanted to go into solar and not necessarily had the capital or the availability of capital in order to go solar. And that basically you may see online everywhere when you start looking at solar, there's always these pop-ups with videos saying, hey, there's no money, there's free solar, the government will give it to you. So first of all, the government won't give you anything, so let's forget that one, but they say it so that you'll click and put your information in and whatever, but once we get down to it, and if you have a power purchase agreement offer in front of you, you can go solar with no money out of pocket. No money out of pocket means not a loan, not cash, not a down payment, not anything. You'll start paying when electricity starts feeding into your house from the new company instead of the old company. That's basically what it is. There are incentives out there, basically the federal tax credit, which is the ITC for solar investment in renewable energy. This tax credit reduces the cost of energy or the cost of solar for everyone, including the companies who are offering you this power purchase agreement. Now, they can always enjoy the tax advantage, us, not always. So some of us don't have the income for it. You have to offset it against your actual taxes. And if you're already in a low tax bracket, maybe you can't. With a PPA, you get that advantage even if you don't have a the ability to enjoy a tax credit. I'll give you a secret. The commercial companies enjoy other tax advantages such as depreciation and so on. So a lot of that gets fed into the business model. And remember that when you ask me the question, so how do you make your money? Or how do they make their money? So the power purchase agreement is a great way to enjoy it if you don't have the tax liability. It also enjoys other tax advantages. We talked about that. Here are the features of a power purchase agreement. There's no upfront cost. There's no upfront cost and there's no running cost down the line. There's no maintenance. There's no insurance. There's no replacement of parts that went out of warranty, and they will die, and they will cost a lot, and there will not be a tax credit down the line 10 years from now because the IRA is out for 10 years. The cost of energy can be, in certain circumstances, halved. So we could be today at 55 cents, and we could start our cycle with the PPA at 27.5 or 30 cents. Easy. Just can be done. So think of that average bill that I asked you to multiply by 3, and I divide it by 2, and see the difference between where you can be in both cases. Another feature of the PPA is that it gives you the same amount every month. So there's a great deal of budget management that you can enjoy. I love to say, what is the ROI when they ask me? It's, of course, infinite because your investment is 0. And the minute you have any return, it's infinite. And we guarantee, or the companies who run these guarantee a transfer. So if anyone transfer his home, anyone coming into the house gets the same deal, doesn't get repriced. There's no big party here from the solar company. It's part of your house, and it's actually a selling feature, and you get a production guarantee. So another thing with running your own system, owning it, buying it, whatever, is that you own the risk to its operation. Doesn't work. Something broke. It's now your headache to get the technician out, get the part, get the company who gave the warranty to actually honor it, and so on and so forth. Too many times you find yourself either waiting for a part for months, in which case you're paying PG&E for electricity during that time. It can pile up over a long time to a lot of money. And of course, we have this tremendous wave now of companies going out of business. So the small companies who are moms and pops kind of thing, which we love to give business to, in solar is a bad idea. Because if it's a one-man guy and his son doesn't want to follow in his footsteps, he's going to retire, or he's going to go and do something else when the push comes to shove, like someone switched the legal system of solar energy on him and he doesn't know how to sell batteries, and you find yourself with no warranty. It's gone. So keep that in mind. I pulled up a case study because I've talked already to a number of people in this community, and they actually wanted to see actual numbers. So I pulled up a project that I did, I think, beginning of March in San Jose. A really nice guy. It's a Filipino family. He's in sales of high tech. He represents, I think, a semiconductor company from Taiwan. His bill is $380 on this bill. You can see $260 because this is only the PG&E bill. There is another page down with what they call AVA, we call MCE probably. So the Community Clean Energy Aggregator. And together he was paying $380, and I calculated off his bill 46 cents per kilowatt hour. He's a big user, 800 kilowatt hours, fairly big house, and of course, San Jose is warm. So he's using a lot of air conditioning. They work from home three days a week, so a lot of electricity. And we size the system a little big because he's going into an electric car. Here is what it looks like after he went solar. So I don't know if this is clear, but on the left, we see the PG&E bill with a projection over the next 10 years. I took a basic average rate of 53 cents, which is the rate that he will pay together with the summer rate. I took a very conservative 10% rate of inflation with PG&E. I say it's very conservative because last year it went up almost 30%, 25%. And we are already today at 12.5 with a 5 additional, so at 17% before the end of the first 6 months of 2024, and there's more to come. PG&E have raised in the past 10 years almost 50 times our rates. We can see between 3 to 6 times increases in a year. In the middle one, in solar, you see the projection of a 2.9% escalator of his current deal. Now, understand this current deal comes with a huge 20 kilowatt battery. So this rate that is brings him to $271 instead of $463 is including a huge battery that he will be using to utilize that energy that he'll be producing, not necessarily when he's. If we would take that backup out of the equation, his rate would be even lower and his savings would be even greater. Yes.
So let me ask it as a question. Did he arbitrage the electricity, which is to say purposely sell back at peak rates and use it himself before that? And if not, I believe we were able to do that in many of two, right? And I think we're not able to do it in many of three.
So since the Zoomers didn't hear your question, there was a question from Ron about arbitraging the energy. Can we sell back at peak rates our energy instead of using it and generating it at a lower rate? I'll give you a short answer and then we'll talk about it at the end. The short answer is yes, but is no, but. So net billing basically tells you that when you sell energy back to the utility, you're selling it at 5 cents. Okay, so that's why we have a battery, because the idea of generating it at 20, 25, 30 cents a kilowatt and selling it at 5 is just not a business model that we want to live with. If we store it, we're offsetting 55, 60, 66 cents, whatever the peak is. There is a but there because there is a certain time of the year. We talked about it, the rolling brownouts, remember? When we have an opportunity to sell energy back to the grid at extreme rates, up to $3 per kilowatt hour. That's huge. And if we do our homework or program our battery basically correctly, we can pack up during that month up to $1,000 in credits from PG&E, and that will help us all through the year. But that's really pinpointed. There's a big table. Most of it is 3, 5, 10. Some points we see in the future in 25, 26, it will go over 20 and 30 cents in certain times. But that specific point, really 2 hours in August, all through August, that's when we rob the bank. So here's what he changed to from 53 to 31, including the battery, 463 to 271, from 10 to 15% to 2.9, a consistent bill through the next 25 years. He knows exactly how much he's going to pay today, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, to the cent. He knows how much it's going to be. And he has full backup to guarantee him no outages. That's it, more or less. So basically, embracing a brighter, greener future. I feel that I'm preaching to the choir here, saying it's our duty and our legacy to leave something better behind. A power purchase agreement, this financial tool, which only needs good credit. That's the only thing that it needs. And I say good, I didn't say excellent, I didn't say stellar. It's just reasonable credit. 650 and above is usually the marker. It will offer us all the benefits we want from solar. The green, the example, and whatever. It will increase the home value for us. I can sit with each one of you and show you how lowering substantially an electrical bill gives actual extra value. And it's going to protect us from PG&E inflation, not only regular inflation. So that craziness where they're just trying to take as much as they can. Backup batteries, of course, offer us a different quality of life besides the savings, also safety, security. I don't need to tell you, I landed here in 2020 in Walnut Creek, February of 2020. You may recall what happened. In my first month, there was a curfew. I didn't know what that meant almost. And there were riots in the streets, and Main Street was boarded up, and it was crazy. People were taking advantage of the fact that there was unrest and instability. And I don't know, we want to go shopping in that kind of environment. So this allows us to stay at home and be safe. So that's another thing. When the grid goes out, there might be those rioters trying to take advantage of this not so great rate advantage and decentralized grid. We are actually helping the grid, we're helping PG&E, and we're helping building a sustainable grid for the future, because each one of us that goes solar actually almost entirely goes off grid. I say almost entirely because we're still connected. We still have some advantages and disadvantages, but most of our power produced by the sun, fed into our houses, and that is the wrong direction. I'm yours. I'll stay behind here, so.
Great.
Questions?
First, thank you, Ethan, for great topics. Okay, we're gonna take questions. Let me try to
Is it working?
well, briefly.
All right,
Short questions, please.
the family you talked about in San Jose.
Yeah.
You saved all the money, how many panels did it take?
I recall it was an 18-panel system.
Yeah.
18 or 20, one battery, 20 kilowatt hours.
All right, and when you set these systems up, how close do the panels have to be to the meter on the house?
They have, I'll talk ballparking. They should be on the same structure. That's basically, we can run from one side of a building to the other with conduits and come down into the meter. That's not the distance. That distance is not a factor. In your mutuals, and there was a question here before about mutual too, but some of the buildings are condominiums. The roof is communal. These are things that we can work through. I can't tell you that it's not going to be a process, but I'm willing to be here and walk it through you, with you. I believe that we can get glass on roofs.
It would be really cool for us if we could put them on the carports and not have to deal with the residents' buildings. But the carports aren't real close to the meters.
Okay, Barry.
So we attempted to do that a few years ago. And when you use an area that's not under the roof of the individual owner, you then fall back into the Sterling rules. And you need to get 2/3 of the membership of the mutual to approve for you to do that. And it is impossible to get 2/3 of the members of the mutual to vote themselves $1,000. Let alone approve the use of your solar, so it just never happened.
The roofs of our building are common area too.
Well,
The data-
roofs of the buildings that's falls under AB 634, and the mutual can't say no. But when you go to the carports, they can say, no, we have to get approval of all the members to use that common area. So that's why
I just have to say, a lot of
I worked on it for 5 years.
a lot of times the cities don't allow carports anyhow, because you have to have a foundation on them. So like, I'm in the same business as Ethan, and a lot of folks want like homes all over, not just HOAs. And you don't see a lot of solar panels on carports because it's not allowed by the city ordinance, by the city construction.
Yes, Diane.
Actually, now that I know you're an expert, it's for a question for Barry. What about EV chargers in carports?
Excellent.
That's a whole. I know, I can just have.
Yeah. I'm gonna reserve this one to Adrian. Yeah, so there is a charging committee that has been meeting and trying to figure out ways of doing them. Approximately 60% of the homes at Rossmore have carports that are detached. And so we need either a solution that allows us to put level 2 chargers into the carport, or we need a solution that allows us to have a fast charging solution that is convenient and close by. You know, it's more than just the electrifying our station. So we're working on that. We're trying to find ways on Mutual 4, which has done a great deal of work already to try and figure out how to do it within a mutual and provide inside support. Not clear whether they can get that through the mutual board. Yes, and mutuals 1 and 2 are, and it's very difficult for them to get their heads around that sort of thing. But the number of EVs at Rossmore continues to accelerate. About a year ago, we had 330, now we have almost 600. And it's growing by the day. And so, yeah.
Because I do this with this model. Will there be, I'm sorry, I'm gonna take one more question, then I'll talk to you afterwards. Probably there's gonna have to be an enhancement of the distribution system. So is GRF also working that, or is nothing going on?
No. So, yeah, so your question was about the distribution system, the transformers and all the rest of that. And that's all PG&E's problem, not GRF's. And trying, and trying to get it all sorted out. I mean, yes, there's going to be a real problem with transformers eventually, if we try and do it locally. Ultimately, yes, if you're going to do something within the carports, the mutual has to decide
we want to do that and organize it in some fashion or the other. And as I said, Mutual 4 is working on that. But there's 22 mutuals here, right? So big problem. Other questions? No?
I'll just add one sentence there. To the few who have carports that are adjacent to their houses, we are able to individually attach an individual charging station and allow you more solar in order to charge the car as well. It's part of the projects, but of course the physical problems that you have here are part of it.
Other questions? Susan.
Susan. So I guess I'm just gonna follow the rules here and stand in front where I'm supposed to.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's so radical, huh?
I'm so radical, yeah. When I put solar on my roof, because I did it in time for NAM2,
Mhm.
I researched batteries because I was interested in doing that at the time, even though I was gonna take responsibility for it. And what I was told is that my building's geometry did not permit the installation of a battery because of all the regulations involved that prevent fires in terms of how far away it has to be from X, Y, Z, right? And I was very, very disappointed, and I fear that this effort in Rossmore, I love the PPA idea, it's fantastic. But I fear that, and you know, whatever the physical problems are, regarding charging and all of that, what about battery installation? You know, I'm really worried about that.
Yeah, and I would be worried with you. I think it's definitely part of the rule that we are bringing together solar with batteries, because now the battery is part of the solar. And the mutuals will have to address those as part of the system, because if you don't allow battery but allow the solar, you're cutting way more than 10% of the production. You're cutting like everything out. So it will be our claim, and it's acceptable in California, that the battery is part of the system. And now we'll have to work through it. It's not to say that there won't be places that will disqualify. It's the way it is. I think in Mutual One, I think we saw that all their main panels are outdated. Don't want to cause panic and say fire, but they're fire hazards. Zinsco is a company that went out of business because of a recall on their panels. And a lot of those panels that Zinsco made, they need upgrading. Now, as part of a solar project, we upgrade those panels. So it might be actually a kind of the interest of the mutual to actually help us instead of putting blocks on our wheels.
Any other questions?
If not, I'll just one closing words. I left a QR out there on the table out there. Anyone who is interested in a private consultation, deeper dive into their own bills and opportunity that we offer here is invited to set up an appointment there. We come out. I live in the area. I'm 10 minutes up the road in Martinez, and we're happy to come and meet. Thank you.
Well, okay, I see that there's 4 items in the chat. Let's see if there's a question among them. So one person had to leave. Okay, so this is a link to set up a consultation with you. No, I think that was it. Okay, I think we're good.
Okay.
So thank you,
Thank you.
Ethan. Now let me. Sorry, I have to stop this share. And then do this share. Okay. Very good. There we go.
That's what's left. Thank you very much, Ethan. Okay, moving on. Carol, do you want to tell us about the film that the film series committee will be showing next week? We lost it.
Yeah, I'll get it back. Okay.
Thank you. While I'm here, I'll mention at the end of the meeting, we're not at the end of the meeting, but when it is, could you please just leave your name tags on the table there? You don't need to take out the cards or anything, just plop them down. And if any of you have plastic holders of any type at home that you're not going to use, would be glad for them in the future. So we keep reusing things because we don't start with new stuff. The film next week, I just read recently at a store I went to that April is gardening month. And it also means that it's farming and ranching month. But we chose this film because it's about Earth. And it's specifically about soil and enriching the soil, and it's Earth Day, and it just seemed like the right film. It's won multiple awards, so it's really quite outstanding as a film. It's just a little bit shy of 2 hours. It'll be next Wednesday, so not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. And Peacock, and there's an optional discussion afterwards. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you. Susan, you're up next. There we go.
So as you all know, I think you know, we now have a committee working on the November election. And for the last month, we've had a subcommittee that's been working to get a number of us trained and started phone banking for EVP. So many of you saw Nathaniel's presentation to Sustainable Rossmore, I think. We were all kind of blown away at how effective the Environmental Voter Project is. And we decided that we would prioritize working with the Environmental Voter Project. How many people in the room are not aware of the Environmental Voter Project? Let me just see a show of hands. I see a couple, so I'm going to bore a couple, the rest of you for just a second here. Just EVP works with people who are actually registered to vote and prioritize climate as number one, their number one issue, but they don't vote. Okay, so just kind of get a grip on that for a second. You know, amazing. There are millions of those people in the United States. Okay. And what EVP does is use behaviorally tested messaging to get them to start voting. That's what EVP does. It's not about convincing somebody to vote this way or that way. It's just say, hey, climate voter, start voting. So anyway, so I hopefully that was at least a little bit of an orientation for those who don't know of the organization. That's who we're prioritizing. We're phone banking with them. And we're using Commit to Democracy, which includes EVP among what they do. The cool thing about Commit to Democracy is they have phone banking for a lot of other organizations too, in other states that EVP does not work in. So we are really trying to expand our reach on who we can influence. So we did stop our whole committee meetings while the subcommittee was working really hard. We're going to resume on Tuesday, April 16th, 11 to 12:30. If you're interested, I hope you will join us. I'll say that again. So come to that meeting to get an update on what we've done to date and our upcoming plans for phone banking, as well as other future opportunities. Those are going to include texting, postcarding, and ways to multiply your impact. Fundraising too. I've been working on fundraising. So truly, people, this November election, so much hangs in the balance. Please get involved, and Sustainable Rossmore is a great place to do that. See me after tonight's meeting or email me at this email address, susanlharris@mac.com, easy to remember. Okay, I hope to see you at our meeting on April 16th, 11 a.m. on Zoom, and we'll be sending out the link for that in the newsletter.
We're gonna win. Okay, looks like I'm up next. The Legislative Committee has been hard at work. We're in the second year of a 2-year session with the legislature, and so a bunch of new bills were passed this year, or not passed, were introduced this year, and they are in the process of going through their first policy committee. The ones that Sustainable Rossmore endorsed that recently passed that first hurdle are AB 1866, which has to do with idle oil wells and making the owner of those wells be responsible for figuring out what to do with them. AB 1992 authorizes blue carbon demonstration projects. AB 2236 is going to ban plastic bags in grocery stores. They figured out that nobody's really recycling because you can't really recycle those thick plastic bags. And so this bill would do away with plastic bags in grocery stores. And then AB 2648 would prohibit state agencies from purchasing single-use plastic water bottles, any other kind of bottles like that. So great bills, and they've passed their first hurdle, and we're really excited about it. We've got more that we're working on, and we're always interested in having new people come and join us. So if you're interested, let me know. Yes. Leela can explain that one. Come on up, Leela. Leela's been working on that bill.
Well, it has to do with carbon that's stored in coastal areas and wetlands. And the carbon stored under the ocean stays longer and held in storage than even on land. So these are just testing projects.
What's good about that one, besides the subject matter, is that now the author's office knows us because Leela is working on the bill. And so now they let us know when they have other bills that they think that we might be interested in that they want us to support. So we're getting a little interest in the legislature and having support from Sustainable Rossmore. We like that. I'm up again. Repair Cafe is something I've been working on that's going to take place at the Earth Day celebration on April 19th. It will be held in Dollar Clubhouse, and what a Repair Cafe is an event where people who have a broken or torn item can bring it in, and volunteer repair coaches will help make it usable again. So I'm pretty excited about it. The whole purpose of it is to A, keep people from having to buy something new, and B,
It says your battery is running low.
keep the old thing out of the landfill. Maybe we can take this in and have one of
Says your
the
connection.
help on that.
Oh, for Christ's sake, that's out to reach down there.
Yeah.
I have mine up in the.
I know, I can't do that.
Okay.
What's going on?
Let's get up there. Gonna make life obvious.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, at any rate, I'll just talk while Barry's doing
No, no,
that.
we're good.
We need more repair coaches. If you've got a niece that likes to sew or a brother-in-law who likes to tinker, send them my way. We've got 15 that volunteered, and I was pretty impressed with that. But I think we need twice that many at least, because I'm afraid there will be people lined up out the door of Dollar Clubhouse wanting stuff fixed, and we won't have enough people to help. So it is a volunteer thing, but Republic Services will be providing lunch for all the repair coaches, so at least there will be lunch involved. And it would only be a 4-hour commitment from 10 to 2 on April 19th. So please let me know if you know of anybody who can fix stuff, and we'll put them to work on April 19th. Thank you. Leela. you're up next.
Thank you, Pam. So we've had a busy 3 months, January, February, and March. And a new focus for us has been on providing information to the mutuals. And the mutual representatives who come to our meetings have asked for a lot more information about what kinds of trees should we be planting now, given that we're going to have a hotter and drier climate. And also in the winters, we're getting wetter. So it's really difficult to know how do trees manage both these extremes, you know, of hotter and drier, less water, and too much water in the winter. So we've been looking at various different websites that have fire-safe trees, and like East Bay Mud or the Contra Costa Water District, and even looking at Roswell tree lists. And there are many trees now that you have to look not just at native trees, but you also have to look at trees from other areas because those are better adapted to the climate. So we've been working a lot on that. And so we've come up with a few lists, but giving fire safety a high priority. Last week, we invited Bob Simmons, and he was the former mayor of Walnut Creek, and he gave a presentation on trees and climate change, and that people enjoyed a lot. And then we were the catalyst for the first ever Mutual Landscape Chairs meeting. And we had initially met with some of the mutuals, and we thought just we'd have a few mutuals come together, chairs come together. But in the meetings, they decided, why don't we get many more, as many as we can? And so last Tuesday, after Bob's meeting, all the landscape chairs, there must have been like 15, 16 of them, had their own organizing meeting, and then they're going to plan how they'll go forward, which I think is a great, great idea because they can identify mutual concerns, issues that affect them all, identify solutions, and come together in that way. So it's never happened before. So, you know, we were really excited. Yeah. And also we're still conducting tree tours. So come on Earth Day, April 19th from 11 to 12, right there in Dollar Park. And I think I'm going to do about 4 or 5 trees that we haven't done before. And finally, to tell you that our website is now finally completed, and thanks to Adrian for all your help. And there's a lot of information on what we've done in the past and what we are planning to do in terms of information that we'll put up there for the mutuals. So thank you.
And that's it. So thank you all for coming. There's still probably a little food and drink back there if you want to have some of that. And we look forward to seeing everybody on at our Earth Day celebration on April 19th. Thank you.
It's only. Never heard of it. Just sitting out in the garage. We never got the software workshop. And it turns out, I looked at my phone and mine is a 5 kilohertz wavelength for the, and I think that threw them off.